My name is Corey, and I'm leading you today through a slow flow Christian-based practice. Regarding the slow flow, we'll start on the floor. We'll do some breath work, and then we will move to standing poses and return back to the floor. So we will be stretching and strengthening all of the major muscle groups as we move around in this particular practice. As far as this being a Christian-based practice, there is an option to listen to a contemporary Christian music playlist in the notes. And then also I will be starting with a Christian devotional and ending with some scripture to give you opportunity to ponder and pray and feel the love of God. And so today, let's begin in a seated position. You can just close your eyes. And I'm going to read to you a devotional that I wrote several months ago. And it's titled, Celebrate. We are loved by God. And a scripture quote, 1 John 4, verse 19, and this is the English Standard Version. We love because He first loved us. My youngest son called early this morning, and I quickly snapped up the phone, concerned that there was an issue. After my hello, he replied, Mom, I just called to tell you that I love you. As a soon-to-be first-time father, his love for and commitment to his daughter grows stronger each day. These new parental emotions triggered a realization that his parents love him just as deeply. During the phone conversation, he emphatically shared his promise to love, protect, care for, guide, and celebrate his child forever. God, our Heavenly Father, loves us the same way. Throughout Scripture, we learn of God's unfailing love, of His commitment and faithfulness to His children. He is our protector. We have nothing to fear, as His perfect love drives fear away. Through His perfect love, He sent His beloved Son, Jesus, to heal our wounds and mend our brokenness. He has given us a helper, advocate, and comforter, the Holy Spirit, to dwell in our hearts and guide us in all things. I love my son, and he loves his daughter, because God loved us first. Because of God's love, He provides protection, care, guidance, and the path to the ultimate celebration, eternity with Him. Let's take several slow, deep breaths. So as we begin to move into this practice of yoga, yoga is uniting breath and movement. The word yoga means to unite. So we're combining our breath with our movement. And we're also combining that spirit, mind, body. So as we practice today, I am hopeful that you will feel that Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God speaking in you, and that your mind will feel strengthened as you are staying focused and present today in this practice. So you will be practicing mindfulness, paying attention, and trying not to let your mind wander off. And as we go through this physical practice, you will strengthen your body and stretch your body and hopefully decrease some tension and anxiety or possible stress that you may have. Let's begin this flow just with some breaths to warm up. Let's let the arms come down by the side, and you're sitting up as tall as possible. If this is very uncomfortable for you, you can certainly change your pose, or you could put towels or blocks or something underneath your legs to help to support you. Let's lower the arms down, and inhale, let the arms float high to the ceiling. And then exhale, you can exhale either through the nose or the mouth. Inhale and exhale. As you lift your arms up, you have that opportunity to look up, provided that feels okay on your neck. Exhale, pressing the air down and away. On this inhale, look up, and then revolve to the right side, taking that left hand to the front. And then inhale, reach up. Go to the other side. So as we are practicing together, I'm mirroring you, that we're both moving on the same side. Hopefully that makes it easier for you to follow along. And I encourage you to try to listen to my cues and instructions rather than having to look so much at the screen. Inhale, reach up and lower. This is our last time that we're reaching up. Reach. And then come to the center. Let's do a quick shoulder roll to the back. We're not going to do many of these. Just opening up the chest and becoming aware of how that upper back contracts as you move the arms and shoulders back. Last time. Let's change our position to a tabletop. So come to your knees and your hands. Now you'll notice I move around a lot on the mat, and that's so that I can properly demonstrate some of the moves, some of the poses for you. So as you get into this tabletop pose, your hands are directly under your shoulders so that you have the strength of the bones of the arms supporting you. So we want to have a nice stable base for our bodies. Knees are also under hips. Now I'm going to turn to the side. You are looking down toward the floor, and you're pulling in that low belly. Take a breath in and sink your belly down and look forward. This is cow pose, rounding that back. And then on the exhale, move into cat pose, where you arch the back, draw in the belly, look toward your belly button. Inhale, move into cow pose. Exhale, round the back. Keep moving between these poses. And as you are moving, you're letting the pace of your breath guide how quickly you move. So your pace can be faster or slower than mine. As you need to exhale, that's when you move into your cat. When you need a breath in, you move into cow. Focusing on the pace of your breath helps you stay present and mindful. Also, wherever you are focusing your gaze can help you stay present. Let's look forward as we move into cow, and then look toward the belly button as you move into cat, and then come back to a neutral pose. Shift your body weight back so that your heels come down, your hips come back down toward your heels. Reach your arms out. Now as you come up, come past that point where you were before, so you're shifting over your wrist. Come back. Now if this is very uncomfortable on your hands, just stop at tabletop. But if you don't have pain, let's try to increase some of the flexibility in through the wrists. We sit so often during the day on computers and we're overly stressing those wrist joints. So let's try and give a little mobility here. One more time, and move your arms forward a little bit further. And as you come forward, hands stay under the shoulders, back is nice and long. Your neck is in line with your back, and you are using your low abs. So we just stopped, so that doesn't mean that you stop using your breath. So breath is still flowing. But in this pose, can you feel the beginning of contractions at your lower abs, that area below your belly button? So let's shift back. Maybe you come the whole way down to a child's pose. And now let's move. We're going to come forward, bracing abdominals, feeling the core kick in, coming back, either just dropping your hips back partially or coming the whole way to child's pose, and then coming back up. Breathing in, exhaling as you land in this high plank. This is a modified plank. Come back, dropping heels back. Breath in as you are moving forward, bracing your abdominals. Breath in as you come back, sinking down. Now on this next one, we're going to pause in that modified plank. Remember, your hands are under your shoulders. From here, we're coming down halfway. Bending the elbows, elbows stay in close, arms are parallel to the back, and then come back up. Ooh, that might be a little bit of work. Come down. So we're training the body, strengthening the arms. Back up a little bit. One more time. Coming down, pushing up. Now on this next one, let's come the whole way down to the ground. Use control as you are lowering down, resisting gravity. And once you're on the floor, tops of the feet to the ground, palms of the hands on the mat. So your arms are, forearms are flat to the floor. You're pulling your belly, that low abs, away from the floor so that you have support here. All we're going to do is a baby cobra. You're lifting up the chest on the inhale, and then on the exhale, you come back down. And you are not pushing with your hands, so technically you could lift your arms up off of the ground. So as we are coming up, you feel a contraction in the low back, and then you lower down. Breath in as you come into this baby cobra pose. Exhale down. And again, lifting up and lowering down. Bringing your hands back, either in line with your shoulders, or if you have a lot of shoulder mobility, you can bring your hands down to the base of your ribs. But if you're unsure, for right now, just keep your hands somewhat close to your shoulders, but bring your hands in under your body a little bit. We're moving into an actual full cobra pose. So as you come up, you're straightening the arms, lifting, peeling the chest up, and then pushing through the arms. If this is very uncomfortable for you, go back down to that baby cobra. Let's all come back down to the ground, peeling down, and then come back up. So you can adjust your hands depending on what your mobility is. The legs are on the floor and your shoulders are down. You're looking straight ahead, so you have a neutral neck. Come back down, kind of rolling that torso to the floor. One more time, coming up, pressing hands down, opening chest, feeling the stretch across the abdominals. From here, you're moving to a child's pose. So you bend your knees, shift your body weight back, drop forehead to floor. As we move from pose to pose, as we flow from pose to pose, really try to balance out the body. So if we're stretching one side of the body, the next pose might be stretching the opposing muscle group. Take another full breath here. And then move to downward facing dog. Hands flat to the floor. Lift up your hips. Drop your heels down toward the ground. So you're in an upside down V. There are different styles of yoga, so there's different ways to do the poses. I prefer to push my heels the whole way to the floor. There are many styles where the heels stay elevated. So find what works for your body. And also you'll notice that what works for you today might not work for you tomorrow. So be open to that. Be open to learning about your body, how things feel. And that way you can become aware of how to strengthen and stretch and make those muscles feel more balanced, giving your body overall strong posture and less pain. So you're turning the inside part of your elbows to the front of the room, your index fingers forward, and you're looking toward your belly button. And the reason you're looking there is to lengthen the neck, but again, to give you a point of focus, something to keep you present. Let's step forward. Bend your knees, step to the front of your mat. Your feet are hip width apart, so that's 2 fists. You don't want to open your feet wider than that. You're trying to have alignment through the bony structure. So from here, bend your knees as much as you need to so that your chest touches your thighs. And while you're here, let's just nod the head. And let gravity pull the head down and let that neck release of tension. Turn your head side to side. Doesn't that feel nice? Just letting any tension that we held up in that neck, just letting it go. Alright, you have a lot of options here. So if you are very flexible, maybe you can just straighten your legs and your chest stays closed. If not, let's start off with some bend and straighten. Now when I say straighten, it's incremental. So you're just straightening a little bit until you feel a little bit of discomfort. So we never go to a point of pain. There's never any forceful stretches. Just gently moving, envisioning the body getting longer. So here we're envisioning the back of the legs getting longer, envisioning the back and the neck getting longer. So if you have some wrist pain, you can flip your hands over, placing the back of the wrist to the ground. Or if you want to make a box, you can take your hand to the opposite elbow. And if you're bending and straightening, let's do one more. And now let's come to a still pose. You are straightening your legs as much as you can comfortably, keeping that chest toward the thighs. And let's drop the fingers down to the floor, move to a half lift. Options, half lift. I like my hands on the floor, it works my back more. Fold. Other option, hands to shins. This works abdominals more and lower back.
and fold. Let's do 2 more half lifts. I'll alternate and fold. Inhale, half lift. Forward fold. Inhale, rise. So your feet are connected to the ground. Inhale as you reach up. And then bring your hands to the center of the chest for balance. And then arms down by your side. Beautiful. All right. We're going to move. Here's where we start to flow. So inhale. We're going to bring the feet together. Exhale, stand tall in posture. Now inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift, your version. Step back to a high push-up. Your other option is to drop your knees like we did at the beginning of practice. High push-up, breath in. Exhale, come down halfway. Elbows by the side. Inhale, either cobra or upward facing dog where your thighs are off the ground, and then downward facing dog. Nice big breath. Heart rate starting to go up a little bit. And move to the front, and we'll repeat that a little smoother. Half lift. Fold. Inhale and rise. Remember, you can always bend your knees. Exhale, forward fold. There's always options. Half lift. Step back to your high push-up. Move to your low push-up. Up dog. And down dog. Now, as you are moving, make sure that you are stepping forward and back on both sides of the body so that you're not always stepping forward and back with your right leg. So here's where you have to pay attention. All right, let's step forward. Add on some poses. Feet together, toes touch, half lift. Forward fold. Chair pose. Squeeze your thighs together and sit as if you're in a chair. Reach your arms up, shoulders are down. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Step back, high push-up, low push-up, up dog, tops of the feet to the floor, down dog. New move. Warrior one. Step. Right leg comes forward, bending your front knee, back leg is straight, foot out on an angle, hips are forward. Shoulders down, arms down. Now float the arms up. Hands to the floor. Step back. High push up to low. Up dog to down dog. Other side. Step and land. You're aiming to have that front leg parallel to the floor. It's okay if you're up higher. Also, whenever we go through that high push up to low move, if you want to skip that, you can just go straight to down dog. Breath it, hands down. High push up to low. Up dog. Down dog. And hold. Look forward and step to the front. Feet together, half lift. Forward fold. Chair pose, bend the knees, sweep the arms up. Core is braced. Forward fold. Half lift. High push up to low. Up dog. To down dog. Right side, warrior one. We'll be adding on this time.
So reaching up, warrior one, strong pose here. Warrior two, you take your arms wide. You look out over that front index finger. The front leg, take the knee a little bit toward your pinky toe so that you can feel a stretch across the front of the pelvis. Reach your fingers opposite end of the room. Reverse warrior, back hand to the back of the thigh. Front hand reaches up, you look up toward the hand. Feel that stretch of your side. Hands to the ground. High push up to low. Down dog. Left side, step, land. Looking forward. Warrior two, opening arms. Strong arms, looking out over your index finger, sinking into the front leg. That back leg is strong and straight. Are you still breathing, or did you start to hold your breath? But keep the breath flowing. Flip over your hand. Reach up. Hands to the floor. And then hold your down dog. Let's stay here for 5 full breaths. Step to the front of the mat. Half lift. Fold. Come to chair pose. I'm actually going to turn to face you. So bending knees, squeeze the thighs together. Reach the arms up, and then bring the hands down to the center of the chest. Twist to the right side. So as you are twisting, notice that your legs should be tight together, and notice if the one side shifts forward. And if that's the case, pull it back and make your twist a little smaller. Look over your shoulder. Option to open your arms. And when you open your arms, maybe your arm is out to the side, and that's okay. But if you have some back mobility, twist to open the arm to the ceiling without forcing the shoulder. So this twist is from your lower back. Release and forward fold. Open your feet back to those 6 inches. Take your index and middle finger, wrap it around your big toe. Take your thumb, close the loop, bend your knees, chest to thighs. And now, keeping chest close, straighten your legs a little bit. Push your fingers to the ground, move to a half lift. And then fold. Elbows come back toward your shins or past. This is big toe posture. Trying to gain length in that whole posterior chain. So from the heel of the foot, the whole way to the base of the neck. Or the base of the skull, I mean. Big stretch on the back of the body. Half lift. Fold, inhale and rise. Bring the hands down to prayer. Step your feet together and sit in chair. Twist the other way. Outside of your arm goes, the back of the arm goes outside the leg, opposite leg. Squeezing thighs. Keep breathing. Open the arms if that's what you did on the other side. Looking toward that upper hand. Keep using breath. You can even feel the breath going into the upper back. Release, Fold. Open your feet 6 inches. Hand to foot posture. Actually, it's foot to hand posture is the translation. So taking your hand underneath your foot, back of the hand to the floor. Your toes are touching your wrists. Your fingers are reaching for your heel. You have this sensation of foot and hand touching. Now let's straighten the legs. Back is nice and long in a half lift. So as you are pulling your hands toward your feet are pushing back. And this is intensifying a stretch across your upper back. Can you feel that? Let's fold. And once again, taking your chest toward your thighs. Relaxed neck. Anytime you catch yourself with some tension in the neck, go ahead and nod and twist. Half lift. Release your hands. Fold. Inhale, rise. Feet are grounded, toes are light. Hands come to the center of the chest. Step your feet out. So your toes are pointing out to the side, and you'll probably need to adjust your position once you move into this full pose. We're going into a deep squat. Toes are light. Trying to keep the chest open and the back upright. Let's come down toward the ground in this squat. So your goal here is that your feet are flat to the floor and that you're not clenching your toes to the mat. Also, if you're hunched forward, try to first open by pushing your arms into your inner thighs, and then try to lift tall through the spine. So I want you to walk out of your yoga practice feeling 10 feet tall. Tall, strong, with balanced muscles. And notice your shoulders, are they riding up? So if they're riding up, begin to pull them down. Place your hands to the floor and lift up to give your body a little bit of a break. Come back down, bending knees, chest up. Let's do a twist. Take the left hand to the center of the mat. The right arm reaches up. You're looking toward the ceiling. You should feel a twist in your lower back. Option to wrap that arm around the back and look further behind you. Again, we're never ever forcing. Gentle twist here. If you'd like to take this deeper, take the left hand off of the floor. Take your armpit close to your shin and wrap the arm around the shin and revolve. Release. Hands down, lift hips, take a break. Let's come down. Last time. Back down to your squat. Right hand to the mat. Left arm reaches up. Find length. You're reaching toward the ceiling. Reaching toward the heavens. Strong arms. Wrap the arm around the back. Other arm wraps around the shin. Option for a bind. Clasping your hands behind, looking over the shoulder. Release the bind. Hands down. Lift hips. Roll up through the spine. Roll your shoulders back and down. Now let's take that stance wider. Straight legs, And turn your feet so that the toes are facing forward and the blade of the foot is parallel to the edge of the mat. Before we do anything, let's just stretch the chest. Take the hands behind your back. You're clasping them behind you. You can lift your arms as high as you want to, depending on, again, that mobility across the chest and the front of the shoulder. And release. Bring the hands to your hips, bracing your belly, so that low abdominal area. You're still using breath, but you're engaging this low ab area so that it supports your back. Breath in, forward fold, so you're upside down. Let's keep the hands on the hips. Tighten the front of your thighs and push your hips slightly to the back. Toes are light. You should feel pretty intense hamstring stretch here. Inhale and rise. Here we're feeling the core work as you come up. Yes. Breath in, forward fold. This time put your hands down to the ground. Now reach your hands wide for your big toes. So if it's hard for you to reach your toes, you can have your hands on your ankles or on your shins. Fold, taking your elbows, pointing them behind you, tightening the front of the thighs. Big back of the legs stretch. Half lift, bring both hands to the floor. So let's twist a little more through the back. Bring that left hand to the center, and it's kind of under your neck, upper chest area. Left arm sweeps toward the ceiling, and you look toward the ceiling. So you're aiming to have a straight line from hand to hand. Push hips back, big hamstring stretch, twisting as you are lengthening the back. Can you feel all those trunk muscles working? So your core, your back, the side body muscles are all working. Release, hand down, switch sides. Coming up, revolving up from that lower back. You're just gently turning the head. So again, if this is really hard on your neck, you can just look down toward the ground. Find a place that's comfortable for you. Both hands down to the ground. Half lift, hands to hips. Inhale and rise. From here, turn your right foot so that it is pointing toward the edge of your mat. And your back leg is still straight, so is your front, but that back leg, you're going to shift the foot a little bit off on a 45-degree angle. So we're moving into triangle pose. Lift your arms as if you were doing that warrior two pose, and then revolve the body so that your legs make a triangle with the floor. So your arms are straight. You look up toward the ceiling, provided the neck, that there's not pain there. If you have flexibility to come lower, go ahead and place your hand on the floor. But that's not the ultimate goal. We want straight legs, strong lift through the side. So if you are not putting your hands on the floor, try not to rest on your shin. Keep your hand open in the front of the leg. Take another breath. Bend your knees into your warrior two, a modified warrior two. Turn your toes. Let's go on the other side. Bend the left leg. Straighten that leg. Move into your triangle pose, reaching opposite ends of the room. Maybe your hands come down to the floor. As you are pushing your feet to the ground, you'll feel your inner thigh muscles working. You're still controlling your core. Bend your front knee. Warrior two, modified warrior two, so it's short. And then bring your legs in. Let's step together. Beautiful. All right, inhale, reach. Exhale, bring your hands down toward the ground. Bend your knees and sit down, extending your legs. Okay. So you're going to here, bring your feet, toes in toward your shins, instead of letting the feet just be loose. We're not pointing the toes here either. It changes the pose. So let's pull the toes in. You'll notice that increases the stretch on the back of your legs. Pulling in the low abs, shoulders are down. Lots of choices here. We're going to fold forward. Envision that there's like a bar, a towel rod, or something right in front of your belly, so you need to kind of reach up and over. So there's this little bit of a bend, curl into the back. And then we'll lengthen the back. So you can put your hands on your shins or down on the floor as long as the shoulders stay down. If you have that flexibility, you can reach for your toes. Scoop the belly, come over that bar, and try to take chest toward the thighs, like when you were standing. Continue to bring the toes in, and you are contracting that upper back. You're pulling the shoulder blades together. We did a bunch of exercises to try to make you aware of your upper back. It takes time to really notice the different sensations in the body. So when we were turning with one hand to the floor and the other to the ceiling, you could feel some tension across the upper back. So that's the area that we're working here, pulling the shoulder blades down, as opposed to allowing the back to hunch and round. Release and come up. Good. Let's bring both feet to the center. This is called bound angle. Some people call it butterfly. My granddaughter loves to call it butterfly. She likes to flap the wings. So feel free to flap your wings if that brings you joy. All right. Feet together. Now open your feet like a book. Blade of the foot touches blade to blade. So as soon as you do that, can you notice how that, just that little tiny movement opens your hips? So we're trying to stretch the inner thighs and stretch across the pelvis and release some of the tension that can cause low back pain. This is just a little trick. So let's keep the elbows in close. Try not to let the arms flop out. So elbows stay in, shoulders are down. This might be where you stay. Or you can begin to fold forward as long as you are not adding tension to your neck and upper back. So as you are folding, envision your chest going against the bottom of your feet. So it's a lengthening of the back, right? We're not rounding the back and trying to put your nose on your toes. Going for length. As you're going into these poses, you're still breathing. So right here, can you feel how the breath inflates the back of the body? The rib cage expands in both chest and in the back. A lot of times people are not aware of that. And let's come back up. Now you can either repeat that or try something different. This time rounding the back, pulling in the belly, rounding to take the head to the feet. So you're rolling in a little bit of a ball. Feeling a big stretch here on the lower back. Keeping the belly pulled in. You're still breathing.
And then roll up.
Good. Let's extend the right leg. So it's a little bit out on an angle. Left leg comes in inside the thigh, sitting tall. And then turn and fold over the thigh. So level shoulders, trying not to turn the body out. So if that means that you are barely hinging forward, that's fine. You want to train the body for good posture. So nice long here. Toes pull to you. Hands can be on the floor, on your shin, or on the bottom of the foot. Again, as long as you're not letting the shoulders hunch up. Going for length. Anchoring down your right leg, excuse me. So we're going over the left leg. We're lengthening over the right leg, and your left leg that's bent is trying to stay anchored toward the ground. Let's come up and change the stretch slightly. Turn your torso, right hand palm up. Place it on your shin. Left arm to the ceiling, look up. And then take that arm over and reach for your toes so that you feel a side stretch. Anchor your hip and your leg to the ground. If you have a lot of flexibility, you can reach the bottom of the foot. Other arm reaches over to reach for the toes, and you look toward the ceiling under the armpits. Big, big stretch along the side body where the muscles insert into your hips. Inhale, come up. Notice how you use your core to come out of that pose. Let's switch legs. All right. Left leg extended, right leg bent. Right leg trying to anchor down to the ground. Sit tall, rotate slightly so that your back is level, your shoulders are level, taking chest toward the leg. This pose is called nose to knee, head to knee pose. I'm cautious to say that because there's this tendency to round and crank down. But again, we're trying to be long. So instead, envision there's a string in the crown of your head and you're going to tie it to the top of your foot. So you're lengthening the back. Roll up. Turn your hand over, left hand palm up, right arm to the ceiling. Stay anchored, so try not to let this leg come up and your body shift off the ground. Reaching toward the foot with both arms, looking toward the ceiling. Big stretch along the side. Keep anchoring down. As you start to feel your hips lift up, be intentional. Push the hips back down. You'll feel that stretch intensify. Steady breath. And then come up. Good. Beautiful. How are we doing? How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're starting to feel some big releases in the body. Okay, two choices to come down to the mat. Your legs can be bent with your feet on the floor. I like to keep my legs straight, using your abdominals. Let's split the arms up. First thing, tilt under your pelvis a little bit. So think about when we were doing cat and cow early on. This would be more like cat. So you are tilting under the pelvis. You feel your abdominals work. Let's roll down to the floor very slowly. Can you feel your abdominals engaging as you are coming down to the ground? And then once you're on the floor, bend your knees. Taking your right leg cross over your left as if you're sitting in a chair. Okay, I'm going to give you a lot of different modifications here. We're going to stretch that outer hip, okay? So your hands can be on the side to push away a little bit. This might be enough. If you need more, lift the opposite leg off of the floor so that you have a stretch going on the outside part of the hip across the butt a little bit. We hold a ton of tension in our hips, and a lot of people are not aware of that. That tension can be there because we sit a lot, or if maybe we're standing for a job or walking for a job, it's that same forward back pattern. We're overusing those muscles. But really the biggest challenge is most of us are sitting too much. All right, so you can hold here. If you need a little bit more, you can take that right hand in the hole between the legs, reach around your other shin, pull that shin in, use your elbow to push against the leg. You can even straighten the leg if you want to make this kind of a hamstring and hip stretch. I like to cradle the lower leg. What I mean by that is taking the right foot inside the crook of my left arm, taking the knee into the crook of the right arm, clasping the hands, and pulling the lower leg toward my chest as if I'm cradling a baby. So same cautions as with many of the other poses. Be careful that you're not adding tension to neck and shoulders. And then if this is comfortable, you can always straighten the other leg down toward the ground. So whichever pose you're picking, you're trying to stretch out that hip area. So use some slow, deep breaths. This can be uncomfortable. Here's a good place to try to remain focused instead of letting your mind wander or wondering, oh my goodness, how much longer is she going to go? Instead, maybe focus on breath. Or focus on how your head feels against the floor, or the temperature of the air in the room. Let's come out of this pose. Take your time. Lower your leg down to the ground. And then switch sides. Other leg crosses over. Take your time. Set up just as slowly as you did with the right. Now that you've done this pose already, probably have a good idea of where you can go with this pose. Play around. If you've been practicing yoga for a while, don't be afraid to change what you're doing. If you always do your hip openers one way, try something different. We get into habits. It's not a bad thing. Then sometimes when we get into habits, we check out. We're no longer paying attention. We're no longer mindful. Have you ever arrived at a destination, you're the driver, and you pause and think, wait, did I drive past the school? You don't even remember because you're on autopilot. We do that so much over the course of the day. So when we intentionally try and make changes, like in how you're doing a pose. And it brings you to that present moment, to be focused, to be mindful. When we're mindful, we can decrease more stress. We can also be intentional of how we act, how we respond in various situations. Let's slowly come out. Let's bring both knees in toward the chest, placing one hand on each shin. All right, and your feet can just be neutral. You don't have to be pointed or flexed. Draw in the low belly and begin to roll up into a little ball. So pretend you have like an orange under your chin, so you're not crunching your neck down, but a lengthening, pulling in belly, and your hands are light, so again, you're not like wrenching up into this ball, you're using core strength. Roll down. Open your arms like a capital T, and drop both knees to the right side. You can keep your knees stacked together. You can straighten your upper leg if you want to. You can even reach out and hold on to your foot or your toe, and then turn your head to look the opposite way. Feeling a release of tension continuing across that hip area and back up into the side body and across your lower back. Taking big breaths. As you're exhaling, you're letting the trunk muscles release. Bend your knee. Look to the ceiling. Lift either one or both legs up at the same time and drop them to the other side. And then turn your head the opposite way. So try to repeat however you made this pose on the other side, try to repeat it on this side. So again, we're just working on that muscle balance. Turn your head to the ceiling. Bring your knees back to the center. Let's move to happy baby pose. Now this can feel a little awkward the first time you do it. Take your feet to the ceiling and reach for the outside part of your feet and bring your knees down. This might make you feel a little vulnerable, but I encourage you to think of the name of the pose as happy baby and how babies hold on to their feet when they discover that they have feet. They roll around and they're joyful. So I encourage you, instead of feeling uncomfortable and awkward and vulnerable here, you can capture that joy that a child has. That baby is just excited because he or she can hold on to the feet. And then as you begin to roll side to side, notice how this feels on your back. Well, this is honestly, excuse me, one of my favorite poses because as I'm rolling side to side, the bigger my movement, the more I get a massage on that lower back that inserts near the hips. And I personally always have tenderness and tension there. When you roll around like this with your legs open, it's opening up that pelvic area, so some of the tight muscles there are stretching and it's allowing the back to release. Once again, on the physical end of this, you will have loosened up your lower back more. Let's come to the center. Take both feet up toward the ceiling. Pull the toes down toward the shins. Arms come down by your side. Pause here. This is called legs up the wall. So if you ever want to do this pose in the evenings, it's such a good way to relax, to let the blood flow change in the legs. If you ever have ankle or leg swelling, this is a great pose. And as the name says, legs up the wall, you could put your legs actually against the wall and stay propped. This is a beautiful pose to do before you go to sleep at night. We're going to just stay here for a few breaths. Take one more full inhale and exhale. Bring your knees down toward the chest. We're moving into Savasana, which means corpse pose. And so your goal here is to remain still. So you are laying on the back, palms of the hands are up. Your feet just kind of drop out to the side. Your head is resting on the floor. And then you close your eyes if that feels good to you. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you can just keep your eyes open. We're not taking a nap here. We're being present. So keeping your eyes open helps you stay focused, and by all means. And Savasana is a great time to pray or do a body scan, see how you're feeling, noticing how the mat feels against your body, how the tension has hopefully released. Or you can use your breath with a mantra. And so your mantra could be something, I encourage it to be God-centric. So it could be something like, breath in, I am. Breath out, a child of God. Or I am loved by God. Or God the Father loves me. Jesus the Savior gives me peace. I'll be quiet. And we'll stay here for 10 full breaths. So you choose how you want to use your time. One more full breath. Begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe you do some ankle and wrist circles just to bring movement back. Keep your eyes closed or open them for soft gaze. Gently turning the head left and right. That little stretch on the neck. And then come to the center. Bring your knees into your chest. You're going to roll to the right. And the reason you roll to the right is so that your heart is up toward the ceiling. And this is not a spiritual thing, it is a physiological thing to try to keep our heart rate low. We don't want to spike the heart rate after we've been relaxing. We're just going to drop to the side gently. This way the organs of the rest of the body are not pushing against the heart. The heart's on top, and it comes up. Come to a seated position. Just have a seat. Cross your legs, feel comfortable. As you inhale, float the arms up high. Look up high to the heavens. Bring the hands down to the center of the chest. And just pause here. Psalm 36, verse 5. Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens. Your faithfulness to the clouds. I hope this practice of yoga has helped you release tension in your mind and physical tension. I hope it's given you an opportunity to feel spiritually full, recognizing how much you are loved. Thank you for practicing with me. I wish you well, and I wish you God's peace. Have a beautiful night, beautiful day, a beautiful week. And I hope to practice with you again sometime soon.